And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thanks for joining us here today. We're coming to you from the Latch Development Center at 111 Riverfront Street in downtown Winona, and we're brought to you by Russell and Associates. And we're doing the show today, of course, with head coach Brian Bergstrom talking Warrior football. And I guess things kind of went as expected against Upper Iowa this weekend. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, we felt like we were the better football team going in. That doesn't mean that we took them lightly. We're going to respect everybody, and our huge focus last week was it's all about Upper Iowa, and the rest of the world wanted us to focus on this week. 2 weeks away at the time in the Mankato game, and now we can. But going back to last week, we did what we were supposed to do, and we handled a little bit of adversity early. But guys really responded and dealt with the weather just fine, and we had a lot of practice at that type of weather last spring. We practiced in that and pretty much every night last spring. So,
all right, I want to start by talking about the defense, because the run defense, as we've been saying, week after week has been incredible. It's the fifth straight week now that you have held a team to under 100 yards rushing, 57 this week against Upper Iowa. And if you look, you've only given up over 100 yards twice this season. But that's still only good for third in the NSIC, so this is a very tough conference to run on. Your thoughts on the run defense and what it's done this year?
Well, we've known all along that our strength on defense has been in our defensive line, and that's where it all starts. And it really starts in the pass defense there as well, getting after the quarterback. But when you can be physical up front, and I think we had 3 sacks and 10 TFLs, and we've done that in numerous times where we're just so active on the other side of the line of scrimmage. That helps big time stop the run. And then when you fit the gaps with the linebackers and the DBs, and you can make a team a little bit more one-sided and maybe lean a little bit more to throwing the football, especially in a poor weather day, those are positive things for a defense. And I just strongly believe our success will ultimately be dictated by our ability to run the football on offense and stop the run on defense as a program. And so that's something we care a lot about.
Well, as you talk about that, I mean, the running offense for the Warriors against Upper Iowa was incredible, especially Sam Santiago Lloyd, who had 4 touchdowns in the first half. Tell us a little bit about how the run defense worked this week.
Well, we talked about how important stopping the run and running the football is, and we're fortunate to have a much improved throughout every week of the year. But dating back to last spring, our offensive line has just grown tremendously, and a credit to them, credit to Coach Olson, and a credit to the commitment to running the football. And they were actually the player of the game this week was the offensive line, because yes, SSL had a ton of touchdowns and a bunch of yards, but they all had success back there, whoever it was, whether it was Ty, or at the end McCabe was in and Dom was in, and so they did a great job, and a ton of yards, and the ability to control the clock is huge, and we were able to do that again in a poor weather day where it wasn't always the easiest to throw it. The ability to run the football was critical to our success.
All right, yeah, I do want to echo that too to Coach Olson and the offensive line. Congratulations to you. That was a great game. I know that when we talked to them earlier this year, they said, we tend to only hear about the bad things on offensive line. So congratulations to the Warrior offensive line for that. Then talk about the passing game, because obviously in those type of situations, you're not usually able to pass the ball very well, but you did get a pretty good outing from both the teams.
Yeah, we felt like we were able to manage the passing game. It maybe wasn't as aggressive or as far downfield as it sometimes is, just due to the weather. But I think our offensive staff and Coach Frichte and really everybody involved did a good job of moving the pocket a little bit and creating some different angles to throw the football at, and maybe some shorter throws. And our screen game was good. We had the touchdown to Joe Sickman on a bubble screen, and some higher percentage throws. And we had some down the field too. And again, I can't say enough about the variety and the number of weapons we have on offense, whether it's running back or tight end or receiver, quarterback. There's so many people to try to stop. It becomes hard to narrow in on one person.
Mm-hmm. And then I do want to touch a little bit on the kicking game because although Jacob Scott wasn't called on very much, he did make the field goal, and then he was perfect on the PATs, which he has been all season, and that's not very easy in the conditions as well.
Yeah. So special teams wise, the player of the game was Jacob Scott and the field goal team because they're 6 for 6 and the field goal. And special teams has been such a positive for us all year. And what we've really seen out of our specialists is growth and consistency. And that's in the game and in practice. And that's the snap from Morgan and the hold from Jake, and then the kick by Jacob, and they did a great job. And that's not easy to do because everything was so wet. I mean, it wasn't pouring. It poured earlier in the day, but it was just a constant rain, drizzle. Felt like we were in Seattle. I mean, it was a wet day, so it just makes it harder.
Is there really anything that you can do to prepare? I mean, I know that you practice in those conditions, but when it's actual game day and you have all the adrenaline and everything, I mean, is the weather secondary, or is that something that really can't affect how things go?
I think it can really affect how things go. You try as much as possible to practice in it. I mean, that's why we celebrate when we get opportunities to practice in those conditions. Like I said, we did it a lot last spring, and as long as there's not lightning out, we're going to practice outside. And that gives us an opportunity to practice with a wet football, which is very different. And so when you're in the game, though, hopefully your training takes over and you're just reacting, and you've trained yourself to execute in less than ideal conditions. So.
Okay, and then back to defense a little bit. You did get an interception in the game. You did pressure the quarterback on defense as well. Overall, how did the defense play this week?
With the exception of a few plays, really, really well. We obviously had one of the things I was most proud of is offensively, we turned it over on the first play that we had the ball. Mm-hmm. The very next play when the defense went out there, we took the ball right back away. And that was kind of like punch, counter punch, like we can do it too. And that set us up well. And the next time we came out, though, we gave up a big touchdown play where they had a good scheme, and kind of our guys kind of got picked a little bit and lost their man. And after that, with the exception of just a couple plays where we didn't fit correctly or didn't play our best football, played a really consistent game. And it's a credit to all sides of the ball, but specifically now the defense of just coming every week ready to hold opponents down. If we can keep opponents to that 7 to 14 point range, we're going to win a lot of football games.
All right, let's preview Minnesota State Mankato right now because we have a special show this week. We're not going to do that at the end of the show like we usually do, but this is obviously a huge game. And I think you said last week it was already kind of playoff time for the Warriors. It's simple. I know you don't want to think about it, but a win, and you're probably going to at least be in the playoffs, maybe host a playoff game. Mm-hmm. So what does this game against Mankato mean, and how do you match up against Minnesota State?
Right. Well, it means a ton. It's a huge credit to our kids for being in this position. We're 8-2, they're 8-2, and an opportunity to win the South of the NSIC outright, as opposed to be co-champs, and which we've guaranteed ourselves right now, which is a credit to them and being bought in. And our focus is beat Mankato, win the South. The playoffs will take care of themselves, and we know that what will happen if we win or if we don't, or what will probably happen. But the things within our control are beat Mankato, win the South. Even the overall title of the NSIC is somewhat out of our control because the North teams are playing and they have a North champ and a South champ. And so we really try to narrow our focus to what we can control. But it doesn't mean we're not excited about those things. We're excited about the possibility of playoffs. We just don't focus on it. And our focus is on Mankato, and we match up well. We're two very similar teams that are physical, play hard, well coached, know what to do, and there's a reason that both of us have played well throughout the year. And they're a great team, and they're a perennial late season playoff, contender, and I got great respect for them. And it kind of worked out perfectly that the team we're tied, that the team we're right there with is the team we get to play, in week 11. So whoever wrote the story is doing a pretty good job.
Yes, so congratulations again on the share of the NSIC South title. Obviously that's a big thing, but as you said, you had a chance to win it outright this week.
You bet.
All right. We're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll get the player perspective. Corey King and Daryl Williams will join us right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates certified public accountants and advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
Meet Jenny Siseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Siseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona, and we're brought to you by Russell & Associates. Time now to talk to some of the Warrior players and get their thoughts on Upper Iowa and the season. Daryl Williams, Corey King, thanks for joining us here today.
Pleasure having us. Thank you.
Let's start with Daryl. I guess for both of you, really, it's kind of been adversity and working through things and staying with the program. I guess the first thing really to ask you, Daryl, what made you come back here to Winona State? Because I know that with the coaching change and with everything, it was difficult, but what made you stay with the team?
Just these guys right here. Like honestly, like all my brothers and stuff. And obviously I want to come back and win a national championship and I'll compete for a conference championship too. So sure. I just wanted to come back and do that.
And then you kind of had an increased role with the kick returning since Jake Blue graduated.
Yep.
What did you learn from him? And I mean, obviously the speed is there and the elusiveness and everything.
I learned a lot from Jake Blue, Isaiah Hall too. They took me under my freshman year. I learned a lot from them. So it just shows like I see this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Walk us through maybe a kick return. What are you looking at? What do you see? And when you see the open field, what's your reaction?
Yeah, well, first thing first, I got to give all the credit to the guys up front that are blocking for me and stuff. So, but after that, the first thing is try to secure the catch and get the ball back to our offense. So that's the first thing. But after that, it's all instinct. Like honestly, like I see a hole and just try to just hit it as fast as I can. So that's really it for me.
Okay. Corey, I asked you too about coming back to Winona State. You've been here quite a while.
Longer than most.
Yes, exactly. And we see you at the basketball games and everything too, so that's kind of fun to see you in that light as well. But what was the decision for you to come back? And I think you're listed as a junior. Do you still have one more year left here?
Technically so, yeah. Technically so. And it's crazy to think about. Like I've been here since 2016, missed a year in 2019. But injuries, a whole bunch of different kind of adversity. But like Daryl said, like it's the brotherhood, and then also being able to provide perspective, having that kind of that leadership, that the wisdom, the things that you've collected from. I like to see it as three different regimes that I've been a part of. Having Coach Barton Holinka, and then having Coach Ulrich and Coach Domingo, then having now Coach Bergstrom and his staff. But to be able to collect all that information, all that data, and being able to communicate that to this next generation of Warriors, even future Warriors beyond that, so that they know like we're here for you, and that this struggle is similar across multiple years. So that was the reason why I came back, and obviously to be where we are right now, competing for a conference championship, competing to be in the playoffs again. I've never had a chance to be 5-0 at home. It was worth it. Every single bit was worth it.
All right. The last time that we saw you on the field against Augustana, you had 2 sacks in the game. Tell us a little bit about that and what that's like to be able to sack the quarterback.
Oh, it's a really cool feeling. Like there's nothing better. Being able to, obviously these guys that we're going against are 3 inches, 4 inches, maybe 5 inches taller than I am, and definitely have 60, 70 pounds on me. But to be able to dominate him and to be able, the Alexander quarterback was 6'7", a very big Division I transfer down, very talented kid, and be able to get him on the ground is a difficult task in itself. And to be able to have those sacks in some meaningful time in the fourth quarter, an important drive was key. So it was it's definitely exhilarating, and then able to get up and to celebrate with your team and be excited is definitely something that you hold on for the rest of your life.
Okay. Now, you guys have talked about the brotherhood within the football team, but really it kind of spreads around all the athletics at Winona State. And we were talking to you before you came on camera here about supporting the women's basketball team and being there for different athletic events. What's that like for you to support everybody else that's in athletics at Winona State?
Because like you said, they're at like all of our football games, so like we should go support them. And I love it. Like I love like watching basketball. Like I love being part of basketball. So yeah.
Yeah, and you have an even increased role at the media table. Tell us a little bit about that and what you do.
So I've been working for athletics since 2016, doing all the different sports outside of probably the winter sports. I do soccer sometimes, do some ball shagging and some substitute management, all that kind of stuff. But it's just a lot of fun to watch other athletes succeed at the highest level. You know how much work you put into it, and you don't really get to see what their work is like, but to see their end product is beautiful. And so obviously being able to play music at the games and be the DJs, that's my gig. So I love that. So it's definitely been really cool.
And you don't have a mic, but you sing sometimes too. We hear you.
I like to sing too. I've always thought about doing the national anthem, but we may keep that for me in the shower.
Okay, all right. We won't press that then. Let's talk about this week in Minnesota State Mankato. What does this game mean to you?
Huge game. It's obviously one of our rivals. They're 8-2. We're 8-2. So it's gonna be a huge game.
Yeah, and as a senior, does it have increased importance to you?
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, for you, what does it mean?
It's what you dream about. For the conference championship, for the NSIC South. We don't like them. They don't like us. We got a chance to beat them at home last year. To see Coach Sawyer out for a win, and going into their house is always difficult. Playing on their grass, playing in their stadium is never an easy challenge, and we haven't won there since 2015, I believe. So to be able to have the opportunity to have so much on the line is awesome. But at the end of the day, it's a game. We got one job to do: prepare today. Tomorrow, there's a lot more work that needs to be done up until that point. So we're just focused on practice today, meetings today, and then when that game comes, go execute, go have fun.
All right. What has been your best memory as a Warrior, Ray?
My best memory as a Warrior, probably last year, our last game of the season. Like you said, we played Mankato. Coach Sawyer, we let him out on top. So I feel like that's my best memory here as a Warrior. But there's so many. So.
Okay, that's a good one.
I was gonna say, I was thinking since he was going, I was like, that's a tough one. Just winning big games, beating Sioux Falls, a few weeks ago, beating Mankato my freshman year here in 2016 when they were ranked. Just having those opportunities, playing in big games, and finding a way to win. Getting wins in the NSIC is probably the most difficult thing. It's hard. But being able to persevere and continue on and find a way to be gritty, something that we believe in, is a beautiful thing. So that and this year all together, having Coach Berge, it's hard coming in as a new person, bringing a new culture, and we've all bought in. And now here we are, and an opportunity to get in the playoffs and be a conference champ you can't write a better script.
All right, Darrell Williams, Corey King, thank you for being here today. Congratulations on what you've done so far, and good luck against Mankato.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to take a break here on Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll talk with Coach Bergstrom and his wife Kate. That's coming up right after this.
For over 60 years, Russell & Associates has been helping individual and business clients achieve what matters to them. Our trusted advisors have the expertise and experience to help with long-term plans for personal finance, business finance, or wealth management. Focus on what matters most. Call Russell & Associates Certified Public Accountants and Advisors today at 507-452-3100 or visit us online at russellcpafirm.com.
We've been warning you about Max Profit for quite a while now, but did you know that Max also works in most service departments? Do you feel uneasy when you take your car in to be serviced? Have you ever wondered why your simple oil change always includes something extra? Are you sure Max is being transparent with you? Feel confident again at Lewis Auto. Our experienced, trained service team will give you the straight truth about your car. Lewis Auto Chevrolet and Buick. Everything you want and nothing more.
And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building in downtown Winona, the Latch Development Center, and we're brought to you by Russell & Associates. And a little bit of a special segment here today as we talk with head coach Brian Bergstrom and his wife Kate. Thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
One of the things that we don't really talk about is the family aspect. I mean, although we talk about the brotherhood of the football team and the family that is created there's family behind the scenes, and it's not the pros, but there are things that we don't realize that go on behind the scene that you have to deal with at home. And I understand that a little bit. My wife is a soccer coach, so I live that life as well. But tell me, first of all, what is game day like for you, knowing that your husband is out and he's been away for maybe a little while? What is game day like for you?
Yeah, I would say game day is a fun experience for our family. I think it's what we look forward to all week. We don't get to see Brian a lot, but at the end of the week, it's like, yes, it's game day, and that's our family time. And so super excited, but of course, just like anything, it's a lot of prep work. And I've been at tailgates and prepping the food and family coming and friends, which is what we want, and we love that part of it. But there's also like a backside of it with nervousness, and obviously you want the team to do well, and it rests on my husband's shoulders, a lot of the decision making, and so yeah, for us it's excitement, but there's also a nervousness about it. But at the end of the day, like, it's what our family does, and it doesn't define us, but it makes what our lifestyle is. And we joined this 19 years ago, and Brian and I had the conversation that this is what we were going to do and how we were going to raise our family, and it looks different than a lot of and there really isn't a normal, but it just looks different. We've moved 7 times in 19 years, so it's a lot of different moving parts, but we couldn't do it without each other. We have to be a team as well, and sometimes people say I'm the head coach at home. Well, he's the head coach on the field, so that's how we look at it.
All right, you have 3 kids as well who are watching as this is going on right now. How difficult is that to pick up and move somewhere and to tear up roots and everything? I mean, what is that like on your shoulders?
Yeah, it's hard, but at the end of the day, we have a strong faith, and God has continually provided for us in those aspects. This probably was our hardest move, just because we have a sophomore, and just that high school and the friendships and the families that we have, just that they've become part of our family too. So it gets harder the older the kids are. Kids are resilient, and we need to learn from them and be more resilient to ourselves. But at the end of the day, like, I think it's us preparing our kids well. We've always been really honest with them that there's an opportunity, we might be moving, and it's never okay, pack your bags, we're leaving. We always try to have that open line of communication with them as well.
Okay. Is there kind of like a support network that you have with all of the other families of coaching staff and around the university and that you kind of head up?
Yeah, for me, if I want them to succeed, our spouses to succeed, I feel like my role is to love on the wives and their families. So we try to open our homes as much as we can, and that's been really important for us, as well as open up the field. Brian's just always been awesome to have the kids and families up at practice, and obviously game days, and our kids will ride the bus with the team, and so we have to kind of be unique in how we create that family time and family space. But the wives and their kids come over on Tuesday nights, and we share in a meal together because it's a late night for them on the field and watching film. So for me, if I can invest love on the families and the wives and support them in whatever ways, our doors are open. If they need a babysitter or something's not working, we really bond together, because it's really us a lot of the day. So super thankful. And this group of wives that we have and families has been absolutely awesome. And we need each other. And they understand that. I think every coach that's currently on our staff, they've been other places too. So they understand that it's a sacrifice and a commitment, but man, they do it well too, and we're so blessed.
What's something that you want people to know about Kate and about the support that you get from her?
Oh man, that's I could talk for a long time, but what she said earlier is 100% true. It truly does take a village to raise a football program, and when you're in the position of being a coach and being the head coach, there's so many things that you're responsible for, and you need a best friend, you need a teammate with you to do it. Not only within the football program and all the things and that go on game day and being there for our guys or making treats for the players or having the players over to eat, but also for the camaraderie and the family and the love that a staff shares. Certainly the coaches and I spend a lot of time together, but we spend a lot of time together too as coaches, staff, families, and to be able to lean on Kate to do that gives me a lot of peace, and knowing that we can do it together, and then just the weight that the family feels because I am gone so much, especially in the fall and the winter with recruiting, that so much of the parenting and running of the household falls on Kate's shoulders, and to do that with somebody that we love each other unconditionally and we're both rooted in our faith individually and together, it gives a ton of peace then to go do my best job at work, knowing that she's going to do her best job with our kids. And when we do get those small slivers of time, we really need to make sure that we up the quality of the time to make up for the lack sometimes of the quantity. But I'm so fortunate that we're on mission together, and I don't know that it could work any other way for us anyway. So blessed by her and love her.
Oh, very nice. Last question here. We got about 2 minutes left in this segment. Do you kind of have a second family with the football team? Because I saw when Corey and Daryl got here, there were big hugs there.
Yeah.
What is that like to kind of have kind of extended family with the football team?
Yeah, I got called the football mom the other day by one of them, and that's special to me, that they see us too. Brian has done a good job too with that, and just letting the team know the amount of sacrifice that goes on. I mean, there's many nights he doesn't get to see our own kids play activities and sports because he's with the team or practice or film or on the road. Our son plays football, so Friday night lights, and they're away. So, he's watching it on his device and in the hotel room. So, there is just a ton of sacrifice that way. But I feel like, again, if it doesn't get spoken, it doesn't get heard or seen. And so Brian has done a great job of allowing us to be a part of that. And like he said, we signed up to do this together, and we're going to continue to do that. But I also have to put myself out there for the team too, and I'm willing to do that. And I think for our kids too, the hugs after the game and walking through everybody in the crowds and getting to know the parents. I mean, this will be our hardest year because I feel so new, and just even just the seniors standing out there a couple weeks ago on the field, you're just like, no, they can't go yet. Like, I need more time with them. But we get 4 years, and we get 4 years to make an impact in their lives, and we hope that we're an honest enough family to know that we're not getting it all right all the time either, but we're going to give it our best shot at it. And these guys, we want them to know that our home is a safe place too for them. And so we love to just open our house up and look forward to doing that more often, and also just continuing to grow a relationship with them and their parents. And, their parents are trusting their kids to us. And obviously, we have a lot to learn in that too. So it's good. It is really good, but we have to be on the same page to do it well.
All right. Well, thank you for all that you do, and thank you for sharing your story with us.
Appreciate you.
And good luck against Mankato this week.
Appreciate the opportunity, and really cool to be able to talk about the broader scope of what this football family is. So
absolutely, very important stuff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for watching here on the Warrior Report. We'll see you next time here on TV 25.